Welcome back to your study journey. I am so excited you're here today, because this session is all about agriculture and food, and is a wonderful step forward in your exam preparation. Here's what I'll do for you. I'll walk you through 6 parts, one at a time: vocabulary, listening, reading, writing, speaking, and a bonus continue learning round at the end. I'll introduce every single part before it begins. I'll cheer you on between sections, and I'll keep everything moving so you always know exactly what's next. All you need to do is relax and listen. I'll present everything, step by step. Let's jump straight into vocabulary. Here I go with 10 words connected to agriculture and food, vocabulary that shows up again and again in this part of your exam preparation. For each word, you'll see the pronunciation, and you can tap the little speaker to hear the word alone. But look for the new Practice with Me button too. Tap that one, and I'll say the word, tell you its meaning, and read through the example sentences with you, pausing along the way so you can repeat after me. Really do say it out loud each time. That habit builds true speaking confidence, not just recognition. Let's get started. Arable. Repeat after me. Arable. Arable. Great. Now, arable means land suitable for growing crops, especially through plowing. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. The valley contains vast arable land. Next. Farmers plant wheat in spring, and the arable soil yields a strong harvest by autumn. Next. Although the region is mostly mountainous, a narrow strip of arable land supports several small farms. Well done practicing arable. Cultivate. Repeat after me. Cultivate. Cultivate. Great. Now, cultivate means to prepare and use land for growing crops. To develop something over time. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. Local farmers cultivate rice in flooded paddies. Next. The soil was poor at first, but careful cultivation gradually improved its fertility. Next. Because modern equipment allows farmers to cultivate larger areas, food production has increased significantly. Well done practicing cultivate. Subsistence. Repeat after me. Subsistence. Subsistence. Great. Now, subsistence means the state of surviving on the minimum resources needed to live, often through one's own farming. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. Many rural families depend on subsistence farming. Next. Subsistence farmers grow just enough to feed their households, and they rarely sell surplus crops. Next. Although subsistence agriculture provides little income, it remains essential for millions of people who lack access to markets. Well done practicing subsistence. Sustenance. Repeat after me. Sustenance. Sustenance. Great. Now, sustenance means food and drink that keep a person or community alive and healthy. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. Grain has long provided sustenance for entire civilizations. Next. The harvest failed that year, so villagers struggled to find sufficient sustenance. Next. Because clean water is scarce in the region, obtaining basic sustenance has become increasingly difficult for local communities. Well done practicing sustenance. Yield. Repeat after me. Yield. Yield. Great. Now, yield means the amount of crop produced from a piece of land, to produce or provide. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. This new variety of wheat produces a higher yield. Next. Farmers applied fertilizer carefully and the crop yield improved noticeably. Next. Although drought reduced yields across the country, farms using irrigation systems still achieved reasonable harvests. Well done practicing yield. Staple. Repeat after me. Staple. Staple. Great. Now, staple means a main or basic food that is eaten regularly and forms the foundation of a diet. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. Rice is a staple food throughout Asia. Next. Bread remains a dietary staple in Europe, and its production sustains entire industries. Next. Because maize is the staple crop in much of sub-Saharan Africa, any disruption to its supply can trigger widespread food insecurity. Well done practicing staple. Deplete. Repeat after me. Deplete. Deplete. Great. Now, deplete means to reduce something, such as a resource, to a dangerously low level through heavy use. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. Intensive farming can deplete the soil's nutrients. Next. Years of overuse depleted the land, so farmers were forced to rotate their crops. Next. Unless sustainable methods are adopted soon, continuous cultivation will further deplete essential minerals in the topsoil. Well done practicing deplete. Irrigation. Repeat after me. Irrigation. Irrigation. Great. Now, irrigation means the supply of water to land or crops through channels, pipes, or sprinklers. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. The farm relies on a modern irrigation system. Next. Rainfall in the area is unpredictable, so irrigation channels supply water throughout the dry season. Next. Although irrigation has dramatically increased crop yields, excessive water use has also led to concerns about long-term sustainability. Well done practicing irrigation. Surplus. Repeat after me. Surplus. Surplus. Great. Now, surplus means an amount of something, especially food, that is more than what is needed. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. The harvest produced a considerable surplus this year. Next. Grain reserves grew steadily, and the country exported its agricultural surplus abroad. Next. Because favorable weather boosted production, farmers generated a surplus that helped stabilize food prices nationwide. Well done practicing surplus. Fertile. Repeat after me. Fertile. Fertile. Great. Now, fertile means land or soil capable of producing abundant crops or vegetation. Let's hear it in a few sentences. Try repeating each one after me. The river delta contains extremely fertile soil. Next. Volcanic ash enriches the land, and the resulting fertile fields support diverse crops. Next. Although much of the country is arid, the fertile floodplain along the river has sustained agriculture for thousands of years. Well done practicing fertile. Fantastic work on the vocabulary. I'm really proud of how far you've come already. Now I'm moving you into listening. First, there's a short video to set the scene, then I'll guide you through Part A and Part B. In Part A, I'll play a short script using today's words, followed by 2 quick questions. In Part B, it's a longer, more exam-style script with 3 different question types. I'll read the script aloud as many times as you need, so just listen closely and try answering along with me before I reveal the correct answers. This is exactly the kind of listening practice that builds real exam confidence. On this small family farm, only a narrow strip of the hillside is truly arable, so every season the farmers cultivate it with great care. Even a modest surplus from that little plot can make a real difference to the household's food supply. Welcome back to Farm Notes. Today we're visiting a cooperative in the River Valley, where most of the arable land is used to cultivate rice, the region's main staple crop. For decades, families here practiced subsistence farming, growing barely enough sustenance to survive from one harvest to the next. Everything changed when a new irrigation network was completed 5 years ago. Because water could finally reach the driest fields, previously poor ground became genuinely fertile, and crop yields rose by almost 40%. For the first time, many households produced a real surplus, enough rice to sell at the local market, not just to feed their own families. However, the cooperative's director warns that success brings new risks. Farmers must rotate their crops carefully, she explains, or continuous rice production will slowly deplete the very soil that made this transformation possible. Her advice to every farmer in the valley is simple: protect the land today, so it can keep providing sustenance for generations to come. Quick recap. In Part A, the main idea is that this small farm has very little arable land, but careful cultivation still produces a meaningful surplus, and you'd have heard arable, cultivate, or surplus in the script. In Part B, Question 1 is B, the new irrigation network, Question 2 is deplete, and Question 3 is subsistence farming. Nice work matching those up. Read it at your own pace, and notice the highlighted keywords. Those tend to matter most in the questions that follow. Work through the 3 questions below, and once you're ready, I'll come back and walk you through why each answer works, not just what it is. Strong reading skills come from noticing why, not just spotting what. Let's walk through why each answer works. Question 1 is false. The passage says irrigation's sustainability remains contested among agronomists, not settled. Question 2 is B. A poor season can push communities back into precarious dependence on a narrow range of crops. And question 3. It's a modest surplus in a good rainfall year that lets households diversify beyond staple grains. Notice how each answer traces straight back to a specific phrase in the passage. That's the skill to build. Wonderful reading just now. Truly well done. Next up is writing, and this is where you get to put everything into your own words. Open each task below, Task 1 Academic, Task 1 General, and Task 2. Notice the highlighted vocabulary and linking phrases as you go, and write your own answer first, before revealing the model answer. I'll read the prompts and the model answers to you more slowly than usual here. Because this is a write-along section, pause me anytime, catch up, and keep writing. Once you've worked through all three, I'll come back with a quick wrap-up on the language patterns that tie them together. The chart shows crop yields, tons per hectare, for 3 staple crops in one country. Write 1 to 2 sentences describing the overall pattern, using at least one word from today's list. Rice recorded the highest yield of the 3 staple crops, reflecting the exceptionally fertile soil found across the region's arable lowlands. You recently visited a friend's family farm and were impressed by how they grow their own food. Write 1 to 2 sentences to a friend describing what you saw, using vocabulary from today's list. I was amazed by how much sustenance the small farm produced. Despite limited arable land, their careful irrigation methods generated a genuine surplus every season. Some people believe that governments should support subsistence farmers rather than large-scale commercial agriculture. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Write 1 paragraph, practicing both compound and complex sentences. I largely agree that governments should prioritize support for subsistence farmers, because these households often lack the resources to compete with large commercial operations. Although industrial farms can generate substantial surpluses through mechanization and irrigation, They frequently deplete local soil fertility in pursuit of short-term yield. Subsistence farmers, by contrast, tend to cultivate their land more sustainably, since their sustenance depends directly on preserving fertile, arable soil for future generations. For these reasons, targeted government assistance would help protect both rural livelihoods and long-term food staples. Quick wrap-up on the 3 model answers. Notice how each one leans on this session's vocabulary: yield, staple, and fertile in the chart description, sustenance, arable, and irrigation in the letter, and words like deplete, cultivate, and subsistence in the essay. Notice too how linking language ties the ideas together, reflecting, although, by contrast, for these reasons. Borrowing even 1 or 2 of these patterns will lift your own writing immediately. You're on fire today. Writing is genuinely one of the toughest skills, and you just tackled it head-on. Now for the final core section, speaking. I'll introduce each part's question for you, and I really want you to speak your answer out loud, for 30 to 90 seconds, just like the real exam. Don't just think it, say it. Once you've had a go, I'll share a model answer with you, and I can even read it aloud so you hear the natural rhythm and pacing. Listen for a phrase or 2 you could borrow next time. You've got this. I think it's genuinely important, because understanding where our sustenance comes from helps us appreciate the work involved in cultivating staple foods. When people are disconnected from farming, they often underestimate how much effort goes into producing even a simple loaf of bread. One dish that has remained a staple in my country for generations is a simple rice and vegetable stew. It's made with locally grown rice, which thrives in the fertile lowlands near the coast, combined with whatever vegetables are in season. Families typically eat it for lunch or dinner, and it remains popular because it's cheap, filling, and endlessly adaptable. Even when ingredients are limited, it never fails to provide proper sustenance. I largely agree, because many developing regions have arable land that remains underused simply due to a lack of resources such as irrigation infrastructure. If wealthier nations shared knowledge and technology, farmers could cultivate their land more efficiently without depleting it, which would ultimately raise yields and reduce the risk of both subsistence-level poverty and food shortages. In the comments below, so it's easy to find. It's a lovely way to recap the vocabulary, the reading, and the writing tasks away from the screen. Once you've worked through it, please share your answers in the comments. I really do read them. And if anything at all felt confusing, or you have a question, a concern, or even a suggestion for me, please don't be shy. Mistakes are simply part of learning, and this is a shared space where we grow together. I'll wait 1 full day before posting the correct answers in the comments, so you have proper time to attempt everything yourself first. Take your time, I'm not going anywhere. Take a moment to feel proud. You just completed every single core section: vocabulary, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. That is a full, complete study session, and I mean it when I say I'm impressed. What comes next is entirely optional, just a little bonus round if you're feeling energized. Here's why it's genuinely worth your time, though. The video below is real, natural English, the kind spoken by real speakers, at real speed, not slowed down for learners. Listening to it while trying to spot our target words in the wild trains your ear in a way scripted practice simply can't. It sharpens your listening, grows your vocabulary instincts, and even feeds back into your speaking, because the phrases you notice today often show up in your own sentences tomorrow. If you try it, it's a wonderful way to lock today's vocabulary in even deeper. Either way, you've already done the important work today. Before I let you go, let me quickly walk you through what's below. Each card here links out to a focused tool for one specific skill, reading, listening, vocabulary, or grammar, plus a broader preparation hub if you'd like everything gathered in one place. Think of these as optional extras, not homework. Today's session already covered every skill of your exam preparation on its own. If one particular skill felt a bit tougher for you today, that's the one I'd click on first. Before I close things off, here's a quick map of what's around you. The skills links take you to full practice hubs for listening, reading, writing, and speaking, whenever you want to go deeper into just one of them. The vocabulary and grammar links work the same way for building your language, and free resources is always worth a look. That's also where you will find today's printable workbook, and I've left the direct link in the comments below too. The Facebook group and the YouTube playlist are wonderful places to stay connected with other learners on the very same study journey as you. Now, just so you know what happens next. After this message, the page moves gently on into that optional Continue Learning section, with the extra TED video and a small bonus challenge. If you're tired, or you feel today's session was already plenty, and honestly, it was, please feel completely free to stop right here. You have done real, solid work. If you're still feeling curious and want a little more, keep going, and I'll be there guiding you through it too, at your own pace, no pressure either way. You've done truly excellent work today, and I'm proud of you. Follow along with me for the next session, write out your own answers and comments as we go, share this with a friend who's preparing too, and subscribe so you never miss what's next. I'll see you at page 2, with words 11 through 20. Thank you again, sincerely, for the effort and focus you brought today. Every session like this one is carrying you closer to your target band score. Keep going.